Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandhar Vikagiri Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatarashita Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shri Guru Dev Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatarashita Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shri Guru Dev Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatarashita Shishmar Bhaktivedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai. Na. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatarashita Shishmar Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatarashita Shishmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatarashita Shishmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Srila Gorksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannathas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Anugarya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhattadasa Raghunath Shar Gosai Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. Nama Acharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Śrīvāsa Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandal Gora Mandal Vraja Mandal Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Bharata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Radha Kund Shama Kund Ki Jai. Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya Ki Jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Saṅkīrtana Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Jai Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata Ki Jai. Hare Krishna everybody. Dandavat Pranams, Niri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, and Raseshwari Mataji. You said that you can't hear? It looks like it's working though. Maybe there's something wrong with your sound. Oh, it's soft, huh? I'm speaking right into the mic, so.
Now it got louder.
Huh?
It got louder now.
Oh, it got
So
louder? Okay. I just need to
yeah.
speak like right into it. Okay.
So,
Okay. And Raseshwari Mataji, is your volume on full? Whoa, oops, I didn't mean to record that. Sorry, I accidentally clicked the wrong thing. Okay, we're going to start the Mangalacharan. Let me just open it up. Okay. Jnanatimirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Guruve namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Ajanulambita Bhujao Kanakavadato Saṅkīrtanaikapitaro Kamalaya-taksho Vishvambharo Dvijavaro Yugadharmapalo Vande Jagatpriyakaro Karunavataro Namastrikala Satyaya Jagannatha Sutaya Cha Sabhrityaya Saputraya Sakalatraya Te Namaha. Jai 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 Vishwambhara Dvijaraj Jai Vishwambhara Priya Vaishnava Samaj Gaurachandra Jai Dharma Setu Mahadhir Jai Saṅkīrtana Moy Sundar Sharir Jai Nityanandir Bandhava Dhana Pran, Jai Gadadhar Advaiter Prema Dham, Jai Shri Jagarananda Priya Atishay, Jai Vakreshwara Kashishwarer Hriday. Jai Jai Śrīvāsa Priya Varganath, Jiva Pratikorosh Prabhu Shubha Drishtipat, Madhya-khaṇḍa Katha Jeno Amriter Khanda, Je Katha Shunile Ghuche Antar Pashanda, Madhya-khaṇḍa Katha Bhai Shuno Ekachite, saṅkīrtana Arambha hoilo jeno mate. Oh, my dear brothers, please hear attentively the topics of Madhya-khaṇḍa, wherein the inauguration of the Saṅkīrtana pastimes is described. Tavaivasmi na jivami tvaya vina, iti vegyaya devi tvam nayamam charanantikam. Bhaktya vihina aparada lakshai, Kshiptastakama ditaranga madhe, Kripa mai tvam sharanam prapanna, Vrinde namaste charanarvindam. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Śrīvāsa Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribol Vidyalala Sadidi. Okay, so now, where is it? The glories of Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur and Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata. And Caitanya-bhāgavata from Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata. Ore mura lok shuno Caitanya mangal, Caitanya mahima jate jani beshakal. Krishna lila bhagavate kohe ved vyas, Caitanya Leela Vyas Vrindavana Das, Vrindavana Dasa Koilo Caitanya Mangal, Jahara Shravane Nashe Sarvaya Mangal, Caitanya Nitair Jate Jani Mahima, Jate Jani Krishna Bhakti Siddhanter Sima, Bhagavate Jato Bhakti Siddhanter Sar, Likhiya chen iha jani koriya udhar. Caitanya mangala shune jadi pashandi javan, Sheho maha vaishnava hoy totokon. Manushe rachite nare aiche granta dhanya, Vrindavana dasa mukhe vakta Śrī Caitanya. Vrindavana dasa pade koti namaskar, Aiche granta korite ho tarila sangsar. Narayani Chaitanyer uchishta bhajan, Tar garbe janmila Shri Dasa Vrindavan. Tar ki arbhuta Chaitanya charita varnan, Jahara Shravane Shuddha Koilo Tribhuvan. Shahaje Vichitra Madhur Chaitanya Vihar, Vrindavana Dasa Mukhe Amriter Dhar. By nature, all the activities of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu are very wonderful and sweet, and when they are described by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, they become like a shower of nectar. Jai Shri Caitanya-bhāgavata ki Jai, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur ki Jai. Jai. The Gaudiya Bhashya of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai. All right. Dandavat pranams, everybody. Who else is there? Oh, Ganga Mataji. Hare Krishna. Okay. Oops, I forgot to open this up. So we are continuing on with our reading of Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata, chapter 8. Okay, so now I'll read the Katha Sar by Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. And I'm not going to read all the verses like I've been the other days because we've gone over them a few times now. A couple times, I mean. But yeah. Chapter 8, the Manifestation of Opulences. Oh, and Shuvananda Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. And Champak Mataji, Hare Krishna. Okay. This chapter describes Śrī Nityananda's stay at the house of Śrīvāsa, Malini's service to Nityananda and the mood of Vatsalya, Mahaprabhu's test of Śrīvāsa's love for Nityananda, Śrīvāsa's firm faith in Nityananda, Mahaprabhu's benediction on Śrīvāsa, Nityananda's performance of various childhood pastimes, Mother Shachi's dream, Mahaprabhu's invitation to Nityananda, Nityananda's lunch at the house of the Lord, Mother Shachi's vision of their opulences, Gaur and Nitai's wonderful ecstatic mood, Mahaprabhu's ride on the shoulders of a singer who sang the glories of Lord Shiva, the Lord's resolution to perform congregational chanting at night, the Lord's nightly saṅkīrtana pastimes at the house of Śrīvāsa, the atheist's various envious statements, Mahaprabhu and his associates' kirtan behind closed doors, Mahaprabhu's climbing on the throne of Lord Vishnu, and his eating in a wonderful mood. So that's the brief synopsis, and now here's a more detailed synopsis. When Mahaprabhu was engaged in enjoying various pastimes in Navadvip, Nityananda Prabhu lived at the house of Śrīvāsa. Due to constantly remaining in the mood of a child, Nityananda did not eat with his own hand, so Malini affectionately fed him like her own son. In order to test Śrīvāsa, Mahaprabhu one day asked him why he allowed Avadut Nityananda, whose caste and character were unknown, to live in his house. In order to protect the prestige of his family and caste, he should not allow him to stay in his house. In answer to this, Śrīvāsa informed Mahaprabhu that one who has worshipped Mahaprabhu for even a day is certainly dear to him. Moreover, Nityananda Prabhu is none different from Mahaprabhu. Even if Nityananda held a pot of wine and associated with prostitutes, or even if he destroyed Śrīvāsa's caste, life, and wealth, still, Śrīvāsa's faith in Nityananda would not be disturbed for even a moment. On seeing Śrīvāsa's firm faith in Nityananda, Mahaprabhu became greatly pleased and gave him the benediction that even if Lakshmi Devi happened to beg at any time, Śrīvāsa would not face any poverty, and even the cats and dogs in the house of Śrīvāsa would have unflinching devotion in Mahaprabhu. Thereafter, Mahaprabhu entrusted Śrīvāsa with the full responsibility of caring for Nityananda and returned home. Nityananda Prabhu continued to wander throughout Nadia. Sometimes he swam in the waters of the Ganga, and sometimes he enjoyed unlimited bliss by floating in the current of the Ganga. Sometimes he would visit the houses of Murari or Gangadas, and sometimes he would go to the house of Mahaprabhu. Whenever Mother Shachi saw Nityananda, she showed him great affection. When Nityananda, in the mood of a child, tried to touch the lotus feet of Mother Shachi, she immediately ran away. One day, Mother Shachi had a wonderful dream. While narrating the subject matter of the dream to Mahaprabhu, she said that both Mahaprabhu and Nityananda entered the temple of Vishnu as 5-year-old boys. Then Nityananda held Krishna and Mahaprabhu held Balaram. They began to quarrel with each other. In anger, Balaram and Krishna asked Gaur Nityananda to leave the temple room because they were unauthorized. Nityananda replied that in the previous Dwapara Yuga, Krishna and Balaram had full authority to perform all pastimes, but in the present Kali Yuga, they had no right whatsoever. Therefore, Gaur and Nitai are alone were qualified to accept all the offerings. Both Balaram and Krishna then said that they would bind Gaur and Nitai, confine them to the temple, and leave. In this way, they went on quarreling and began to eat the foodstuffs that they had snatched from each other's mouth even, it mentioned. When Nityananda Prabhu addressed Shachi Mata as mother and begged her for rice to mitigate his hunger, so Nityananda Prabhu came and woke Mother Shachi up, then her dream came to an end. After Mahaprabhu heard the description of the dream from Mother Shachi, he forbade her to disclose it to anyone. The Lord said that the deities of her house were directly the personality of Godhead, and they eat half the foods offered to them. He previously had some doubt whether Vishnu Priya, it says Lakshmi Priya, but I think it's supposed to be Vishnu Priya. He had some doubt whether Vishnu Priya was eating that portion of the offering, but now that doubt was removed from his mind. Therefore, Nityananda should be invited and fed. Thereafter, Mahaprabhu went to Nityananda, and while inviting him for lunch, the Lord forbade him from manifesting any kind of restlessness. In answer to this, Nityananda said that only a madman plays mischief, and Mahaprabhu thinks that everyone is like himself. While speaking in this way, they both arrived at the house of Mahaprabhu and sat down together with their intimate associates headed by Gadadhar. After Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu washed their feet with the water offered by Ishan, they both sat down together to eat their meal. Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu appeared just like Sri Ramachandra and Lakshman. When Mother Shachi served them food on 3 plates, they began to laugh. On seeing the characteristics of Krishna and Balaram in the bodies of Gaur and Nitai, Mother Shachi fell unconscious to the ground, whereupon Mahaprabhu helped her regain consciousness. In order to perform various pastimes in Nadia, Mahaprabhu visited the houses of the devotees and manifested his different forms to the different devotees. One day, as a singer played his small drum and sang the glories of Lord Shiva, Mahaprabhu manifested the mood of Lord Shiva and climbed up onto the singer's shoulders. It mentioned, when we were reading it, said that he jumped up onto the singer's shoulders. Later, after regaining his external consciousness, the Lord got down from his shoulders and gave him sufficient alms. The singer was very pleased and returned home. Thereafter, Mahaprabhu called his associates and expressed his desire to perform saṅkīrtana every night. According to the Lord's desire, the pastimes of saṅkīrtana began. On hearing the saṅkīrtana, the atheists began to criticize and spread rumors in various ways. When Mahaprabhu fell forcefully to the ground during the kirtan, Mother Shachi became worried and prayed to Krishna. Although Mahaprabhu does not feel any pain while falling forcefully to the ground, an affectionate mother cannot tolerate it. Therefore, may he not feel any pain. Mahaprabhu realized the internal mood of his mother. So from that time on, Mother Shachi remained fully absorbed during the Lord's saṅkīrtana pastimes, and she would not know anything. As a tumultuous kirtan was begun in the courtyard of Śrīvāsa on the day of Hari Vasar, Mahaprabhu began to manifest various transformations of ecstatic love. And I think once we get to this section, we could read these verses from that point on. Since by the order of Mahaprabhu, the door of Śrīvāsa's house was locked from inside during the performance of saṅkīrtana, the atheists were unable to enter the house and began criticizing Mahaprabhu and his associates with various harsh statements. The devotees of Mahaprabhu ignored such statements and remained intoxicated in the pastimes of saṅkīrtana. Just as the long night of the Ras Lila pastimes appeared as a fraction of a second to the gopis, the devotees who were intoxicated by Mahaprabhu's saṅkīrtana pastimes passed their nights absorbed in the same way. One day, after kirtan, Mahaprabhu took all the Shaligram Shilas on his lap and sat on the throne of Lord Vishnu. He then manifested his glories to the devotees and began to eat the various foodstuffs offered by them. In this way, after the Lord ate foodstuffs sufficient to feed 200 people, he again demanded more food. The devotees were unable to offer any more foodstuffs, so they simply offered him some betel nuts. Thereafter, Mahaprabhu requested Advaita Prabhu to ask for a benediction. In this way, after some time, the Lord fell unconscious to the ground. Later on, he regained external consciousness and began to perform kirtan. In this way, Mahaprabhu continued his ecstatic pastimes in Navadvip. Okay, so I'm going to read the translations from this point. This is the kirtan that we sing selected verses from this chapter, like 20 verses or something like that, every Ekadashi. Shri Hari Vasare Hari Kirtana Vidan. During kirtan time. Okay. Although I saw a version in other mats and it was more condensed, like there were fewer verses. But the ones that we sing in our mat are, yeah. Okay. And I'll read up to verse 156. That's where we left off yesterday. On the day of Śrī Hari Vasar, which is observed by chanting the names of Hari, the Lord, who is the life of the entire world, began to dance. And Srila Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada says that the phrase Śrī Hari Vasar means the day of Lord Hari. In other words, Ekadashi, Dwadashi, or the appearance day of the Lord. Yeah, Dwadashi is also a special, day that's very dear to the Lord. Not on the same level as Ekadashi, but still, it's still up there. It's right after Ekadashi. It comes Dwadashi is the auspicious day for doing spiritual activities, a day that's very dear to the Lord. The auspicious inauguration of chanting the names of Gopal and Govinda took place in the most pious courtyard of Śrīvāsa. Vishwambar began dancing from the time of sunrise, and the devotees sang sweetly in various groups. One group was headed by Śrīvāsa Pandit, and another group was headed by the chanting of Mukunda. Another group was headed Oops, I had my mic on mute. Sorry, the power just went out, but now I am back. All right, and it's still connected, right, on YouTube and Facebook. 1 second. Pin. All right, I think it's all running okay. 1 second. There. All right, I'm back. Okay, I'm on my mobile data now. Let me know if the connection ever gets choppy. Cool. Thanks for Shri Mataji. Okay, just sharing my screen again. Okay, so one group was headed by Śrīvāsa Pandit, and another group was headed by the chanting of Mukunda. Another group was headed by Govinda Ghosh. All the devotees chanted during the dancing of Gaura Chandra. As the powerful Nityananda caught hold of the Lord, Advaita secretly took the dust from the Lord's feet. The eyes of the devotees headed by Gadadhar filled with tears as they became overwhelmed with ecstasy in the Lord's kirtan. Now hear the next 40 verses, which describe how the Lord, who is the life and soul of the entire universe, danced in ecstasy during kirtan. The name of Govinda vibrated in all directions as the son of Shachi became overwhelmed while dancing in the ecstasy, while the son of Shachi became overwhelmed while dancing in ecstasy with his associates. Whenever the Lord cried, he cried for 3 hours, and his hair became untied and scattered on the floor. Only a person whose heart is made of wood would not become overwhelmed and fall to the ground upon seeing the Lord's crying. When the Lord laughed loudly in ecstasy, he would continue laughing for 3 hours. The Lord forgot his own glories and became absorbed in the mood of a servant. He repeatedly exclaimed, "I have conquered! I have conquered!" When Mahaprabhu chanted in great ecstasy, "I have conquered! I have conquered!" the devotees also imitated him by chanting, "I have conquered! I have conquered! Jitam! Jitam!" Sometimes the Lord sang so loudly that the sound vibration pierced the covering of the universe. Sometimes his body became as heavy as the universe. Then none of his followers could hold him still. Sometimes he had become as light as cotton, and his followers would happily carry him on their shoulders. Gaudiya Bhashya. Sometimes the Lord's body would become lighter than cotton. The devotees would then carry him on their shoulders to different places. The pure devotees happily carried the Lord on their shoulders and wandered around the village. They wandered around the courtyard. Okay, 156. Okay, so this is where we read up to yesterday. Wow. So next time you're at Śrīvāsa Pandit's house in Śrīvāsa Angan, Śrīvāsa's courtyard, you can think all these pastimes took place there. The devotees running all around, taking the Lord all over Śrīvāsa Angan on their shoulders. Okay. Continuing from where we left off yesterday. Jokhone jahoy prabhu anande murchita karna mule shabe hari bole ati bhita. Whenever the Lord fell unconscious to the ground out of ecstasy, the devotees became frightened and chanted the name of Hari in his ear. Kone kone sarvayange hoy mahakampa mahashite baje jeno balaker danta. Sometimes his entire body shook vigorously like a boy's teeth chattering due to excessive cold. Kone kone mahasweda hoy kale vare murtimati ganga jeno aila sharire. Sometimes his body perspired in such a way that it appeared as if the Ganga was flowing from his body. Kokono ba hoy anga jwalanta anal, dite matra malaya ja sukhai shakal. Sometimes his body became as hot as a blazing fire, and when the sandalwood pulp was smeared on his body, it dried immediately. Gaudiya Bhashya. Sometimes the heat of his body was like a blazing fire, for as soon as sandalwood pulp was applied to his body, it would dry up. The word Malayaja refers to the sandalwood brought from the Malaya hills. That was the Gaudiya Bhashya of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. Okay, 1 second. Kone kone arbuta bahaye mahashwas, sammukha chariya sabe hoy ekapash. Sometimes the Lord would sigh heavily, and everyone would move out of the way of his breath. Because it was very hot, the breath. Kone jai sabar, charana dhori bare, balai Vaishnava gan, chari dike dare. Sometimes he tried to catch everyone's feet, and the Vaishnavas ran away out of fear. Kone nityananda ange prishta dhiya vashe, charana tuliya sabha kare chahi hase. Sometimes he would sit leaning against Nityananda, and sometimes he lifted his feet, looked at everyone, and smiled. Bujhiya ingita sa bhagavata gan, lutaye charana dhuli apurvaratan. Understanding the intention of the Lord, all the devotees stole the wonderful jewel-like dust from the Lord's lotus feet. Acharya Gosai bole, are are chora, bhangilo shakala tor, bhari bhuri mora. Acharya Gosai said, "My dear thief, we have broken into your hidden treasury." Gaudiya Bhashya. Advaita Prabhu addressed Gaurasundar as chor, or thief, and said, "Now we understand your glories." The phrase bhari bhuri means opulence, gravity, reverence, self-esteem, glories, or pride. Mahanande Vishwambhar Gara Gari Jai, Chari Dike Bhaktagan Krishna Guna Gai. Vishwambar rolled on the ground in ecstasy as all the devotees sang the glories of Krishna on all sides. Jokhon udanda nache Prabhu Vishwambhar, Prithvi kampita hoy shabe pai dar. When Lord Vishwambar danced madly, the earth shook and everyone became frightened. Kokono ba madhur nachai Vishwambar, Jeno deki nander nandana natavar. Sometimes Vishwambar danced so sweetly, it resembled the enchanting dance of Nanda's son. Kokono ba kore koti singher hunkar, karna rakha hetu shabe anugrahatar. Sometimes his roaring resembled that of millions of lions, yet by his mercy, everyone's ears were saved from harm. Gaudiya Bhashya. Although the sound of the Lord's roaring like millions of lions was capable of breaking the living entity's eardrums, he mercifully protected their weak eardrums. Prithivir alaga hoiya khone jai, keho va dekhoe keho dekite na pai. Sometimes when he walked above the ground. Some persons saw this, while others could not. Gaudiya Bhashya. The loud roaring of the Lord sometimes cracked the earth. Sometimes he walked above the ground, in other words, without touching the ground. Some devotees saw this, while others could not. The word alaga or alga, derived from the word alagna, means aloof, separated, or different. Bhavaveshe pakala lochana jare chai, mahatras payashe hasiya polai. In his ecstasy, whoever the Lord looked at with his red eyes would first become frightened and then run away laughing. They'd first become frightened and then run away laughing. Okay. First mahatras paya, and then hasiya polai. That's so interesting. Gaudiya Bhashya. The word pakal means blood red, red, or crimson. Bhavaveshe chanchala hoya vishvambhar, nachen vivala hoya nahi parapar. Vishvambar became agitated in ecstasy and danced, forgetful of his self and others. Bhavaveshe ekabar dhore jar pai, ar bar punatar uthaye mathai. In ecstasy, he would catch the feet of someone and then climb on his head. Gaudiya Bhashya. Sometimes the Lord touched the feet of a devotee, and sometimes he climbed on that devotee's head. Khone jar gola dhori koroye krandan, khone ke tahar kandhe kore arohan. Sometimes he would cry while embracing someone around the neck, and then the next moment he would climb on his shoulders. Khone hoy balya bhave parama chanchal, mukhe badya bai jeno chawala shakal, chawala shakal. Sometimes he'd become extremely restless in the mood of a child and make various childish noises in his mouth. Gaudiya Bhashya. Sometimes the Lord made various noises with his mouth, like a most restless child. The word bai, a shortened form of bajai, means to play an instrument. The word chawalo means child, boy, or inexperienced. Just a note for in Bengali, whenever you see a ya with two vowels on either side, the ya becomes a w, becomes a wa. So like in Yashomati Nandana, Nanda Godana Rako Wala. It literally says Rako Yala, but we say Rako Wala, like that. Okay. Charana nachai khone, kholo kholo hase, janu gati chole khone balaka aveshe. Sometimes he shook his feet and laughed exuberantly. Sometimes he crawled on his knees like a small child. Gaudiya Bhashya. The phrase janu gati chole refers to crawling about on one's knees. Janu gati means moving with the knees or crawling. Kone kone hoy bhava tribhanga sundar, prahareka she mata thake vishvambhar. Sometimes Vishvambar became absorbed in the mood of Krishna, in his beautiful threefold bending form. He remained in that state for 3 hours. Khane dhyana kori kore muralir chanda, shakshat dekhiye jeno vrindavana chandra. Sometimes he would become absorbed in meditation and play a flute. Then he appeared exactly like Krishna, the moon-like Lord of Vrindavan. Bahya pai dasya bhave koroye krandan, dante trina kori chahe charana sevan. On regaining his external consciousness, he would cry in the mood of a servant. He would hold straw between his teeth and beg for the service of the Lord's lotus feet. Chakra kriti hoy khane prahare kapire apana charana giya lage nijo shire. Sometimes he whirled in a circle for 3 hours, and sometimes he danced in such a way that his feet touched his head. Apana charana giya lage nijo shire. Jokono je bhava hoy shei adbhuta nija namanande nache jagannatha sutta. Whatever mood the Lord exhibited was most wonderful. The son of Jagannath Mishra danced in the ecstasy of chanting his own holy names. Ghana ghana hunkarai sarva anga nade na pare hoite sthir prithivite pore. Sometimes he roared so loudly that his entire body trembled. Unable to remain steady, he then fell to the ground. Gaudiya Bhashya. Another reading of hunkarai is hu hunkar, which also means loud roar. Hu hunkar. Gaur varna deha khane nana varna dekhi khane khane dui guna hoy dui ankhi. Although the Lord's complexion was golden, he sometimes appeared in various colors. Sometimes his 2 eyes doubled in size. Alokika hoya prabhu Vaishnava aveshe je bolite jo gyana hai tao prabhu bhashe. In this way, the Lord became absorbed in the transcendental mood of a Vaishnav and spoke in words that did not befit him. Purve je Vaishnava dekhi prabhu kori bole e beta amar das dhore tar chule. Previously, whenever the Lord saw a Vaishnav, he addressed him as Prabhu. But now he had grabbed him by the hair and announced, "This fellow is my servant." Purve je Vaishnava dekhi dhoroye charan tar vakhe uthi khore charana arpan. Previously, whenever the Lord saw a Vaishnav, he would catch hold of his feet. But now he would climb on their chest and offer his feet to them. Prabhur ananda dekhi bhagavata gan anyone gala dhori koroye krandan. On seeing the Lord's ecstasy, the devotees wept as they embraced each other's necks. Sabara angete shobhe Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata Anande gayan Krishna rase hoy bhola. All the devotees were decorated with sandalwood pulp and flower garlands as they chanted in the ecstasy of Krishna consciousness. Mridanga mandira baje shanka karatal saṅkīrtana shange sab hoilo mishal. The sound of mridangas, wampers, conches, and kartals mixed with their congregational chanting of the holy names. Brahmanda bhedhilo dwani puriya akash chodiker amangal jai shabanash. The sound of saṅkīrtana filled the sky and pierced the covering of the universe. All inauspiciousness in the 4 directions was vanquished. Ekon adbhuta jar sevakir nritya sarva vigna nasha hoy jagata pavitra. This was not so wonderful, for by even the dancing of the Lord's servants, all obstacles are destroyed and the entire world is purified. Gaudiya Bhashya. In the Śrīmad Bhagavatam 11.14.24, it is stated, Vag gadgada dravate yasya chittam rudatya bhikshnam hasati kvachit cha, vilajja udgayati nrityate cha, marbhakti yukto bhuvanam punati. A devotee whose speech is sometimes choked up, whose heart melts, who cries continually and sometimes laughs, who feels ashamed and cries out loudly and then dances. A devotee thus fixed in loving service to me purifies the entire universe. In the Narad Pancharatra, it is said, saṅkīrtana dhvanim shrutva ye cha nrityanti vaishnava tesham pada rajas sparshat sadhya puta vasundara. Mother Earth is immediately purified by the touch of the dust from the feet of the Vaishnavas who dance to the sound of Saṅkīrtana. She Prabhu apane nache apanara name, ihar ki phal ki ba bolibo purane. When the Lord himself dances to the chanting of his own names, who can say what benefit is there? Can even the Puranas describe this? Gaudiya Bhashya. The word Prabhu refers to Lord Krishna himself, who is personally dancing while chanting his own names. The Puranas cannot reach the end of describing the glories of this. Chaturdige Shri Hari Mangala Saṅkīrtan, Maje Nache Jagannatha Mishrer Nandan. The son of Jagannath Mishra danced in the midst of the auspicious congregational chanting of Lord Hari's holy names, which vibrated in the four directions. Jar Namanande Shiva Vasana na jane, Jar Jashe Nache Shiva She Nache Apane. He whose ecstatic holy names and glories induced Lord Shiva to forget his clothes and dance, that same Lord was now personally dancing. Gaudiya Bhashya. Being absorbed in the ecstasy of chanting the Lord's names, Mahadev, the Lord's devotees, he forgets to wear his clothes. He whose glories when sung induce Shiva to dance in ecstasy, that Lord now began to dance himself. Another reading of the words jashe, or by the glories, is rase, or by the mellows. Jar name Valmiki hoila tapodhan, Jar name ajamila pailo mochan, Jar nama shravane sangsara bandha guche, Heno Prabhu avatari kali juge nache. That Lord, whose holy names induced Valmiki to become enriched by austerities, whose holy names awarded Ajamil with liberation, and whose names, when heard, destroyed one's material bondage, that Lord, who was incarnated in Kali Yuga, now engaged in dancing. Gaudiya Bhashya. One should discuss the Śrīmad Bhagavatam. Oh my god, that's a lot of references. I'm just going to say the cantos and chapters. Canto 1, Chapter 1, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Canto 2, Chapter 2, Canto 2, Chapter 8, Canto 3, Chapter 9, Canto 3, Chapter 13, Canto 4, Chapter 29, Canto 6, Chapter 16, Canto 10, Chapter 1, Canto 10, Chapter 1, Canto 10, Chapter 14, Canto 10, Chapter 6, Canto 11, 6, and 12, 3. I didn't say all the numbers there, but anyways, there's the references. Okay. Jar namagai shuka narada berai, sahasra vadana prabhu jar gunagai, sarva mahaprayashchita jay prabhu ranam, she prabhu nachay deke jatta bhagyavan. That Lord, whose holy names Shukadev and Narad sing as they wander about, whose transcendental qualities are sung by the thousand-headed Lord Ananta, and whose holy names are the best of all forms of atonement, now personally danced before the eyes of the fortunate. Hoilo papishta janma takono na hoilo. Heno maha mahutsava dekhite na pailo. I took a sinful birth, for I did not take birth at that time. Therefore, I did not have the opportunity to see such a great festival. Gaudiya Bhashya. The author expresses his humility by saying that since he did not take birth during the time of Mahaprabhu's manifest pastimes and did not have the good fortune of seeing the festival of the Lord's dancing, his life has become full of sin. Kali Juga Prashangsilo Śrī Bhāgavate Ei Abhipraitar Jani Vyasa Sute. The son of Vyas knew the Lord's intention, so he glorified Kali Yuga in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Gaudiya Bhashya. Sri Shukadev, the son of Vyas, knew very well that Sri Gaurasundar would appear in the age of Kali, so he glorified Kali Yuga in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 5, verse 36, and Canto 12, Chapter 3, verse 51. And so both of those, we're going to read those two verses now. Verses of Shukadev Goswami glorifying Kali Yuga. Kalim sabha jayantarya gunagya sarabhagina yatra saṅkīrtane naiva sarvasvarto vilabhyate. Those who are actually advanced in knowledge are able to appreciate the essential value of this age of Kali. Such enlightened persons worship Kali Yuga because in this fallen age, all perfection of life can easily be achieved by the performance of saṅkīrtana. Kaler dosha nidhe rajan asti hyeko mahan guna kirtanad eva krishnasya mukta sangha param vrajet. My dear king, although Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, there is still one good quality about this age. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. Nijanande nache Mahaprabhu Vishwambhar Charanera tala shuni ati manohar. As Mahaprabhu Vishwambar danced in his own ecstasy, the movement of his feet sounded most enchanting. Bhava bhore mala nahi rahoye galai, chindiya padaye giya, bhakater pai, koti gela garuder arohana sukha, koti gela shankar chakra, kotai ধুলি লুটি করয়ে রোদান কোথায় রহিল বৈকুণ্ঠের সুখ ভার দাসে সুখে সব সুখ পাসারিল তার. Due to the Lord's absorption in ecstasy, his garlands did not remain on his neck, but scattered at the feet of the devotees. Where did the happiness of lying on the bed of Mantago? The Lord now cried and rolled on the ground in the mood of a servant. Where did the happiness of Vaikuntha go? The Lord forgot all other happiness while tasting the happiness of a servant. Gaudiya Bhashya. The Lord of Vaikuntha tore apart the Vaijayanti garland around his neck and threw it at the feet of the devotees. He gave up the happiness of riding on the back of Garuda. He gave up holding weapons like the conch and disc. He gave up sleeping on the bed of Ananta. Now, in his pastimes as Gaurasundar, that Lord began to cry and roll on the ground while absorbed in the mood of a servant. He gave up the happiness from being the servant. Koti gelo ramara vadana drishti sukha virahi hoya kande tui bahu mukha. Where did the happiness of looking at the Rama, the goddess fortune, go? Now the Lord raised his arms and face and cried and instead of looking at the face of Lakshmi in his capacity as the enjoyer of conjugal mellows, the Lord raised his face and arms and began to cry, being merged in the ocean of separation. Shankara Narada Adi Jar Dasya Paya. I don't know what this is supposed to be. Anyways, so that's supposed to be Sarva. Sarvaishvarya Tiraskari Brahme Dasa Hoya. She Prabhu Apanar Dante. Sorry. She Prabhu Apanar Dante Trina Kori. Dasya Yoga. Great personalities like Shiva and Narad give up their opulence and wander about as servants of the Supreme Lord, who now gave up all happiness, took straw between his teeth, and begged for devotional service. Gaudiya Bhashya. That worshipable Lord, in whose service great personalities like Shiva and Narad are engaged, after giving up their respective opulence, now took straw between his teeth out of humility, and after giving up all happiness as the object of worship, he begged for devotional service. Heno dasya yoga chari ar jeba chai, amrita chari ajeno vishalagi dhai. One who gives up such service and desires something else is like one who gives up nectar and desires poison. Gaudiya Bhashya. One who, in spite of seeing the recent example of Gaurasundar, gives up the path of devotional service and proudly becomes inclined to attain one of the four types of liberation, beginning with Salokya, or residing on the same planet as the Lord. That person is like one who gives up nectar to drink poison. In the Skanda Puran, it is stated, Vasudeva Paritaja Yo Anya Devam Upasate Tyaktva Samudatma Bhunkte Hala Halam Visham. A foolish person who gives up the worship of Vasudeva and engages in the worship of the demigods is giving up nectar to drink poison. It is stated in the Mahabharata, Yastu Vishnum Parityaja Mohad Anyam Upasate Sahema Rajam Utsrija Pankshu Rashim Jigrikshati. A person who, out of illusion, gives up the worship of the all-pervading Lord Vishnu and worships other demigods, gives up heaps of gold to accept heaps of ashes. It is further described in the Narad Pancharatra, Shri Harer Bhaktidasyam Cha Sarvam Ukte Param Mune Vaishnavanam Abhimattam Sarat Saram Param Param. The devotional service of Lord Hari is most enchanting and the best of all forms of liberation. O great sage, it is the essence of all conclusions. This is the opinion of the Vaishnavas. In the Hari Bhakti Kalpalatika, it is said, Nasti dasyat parang shreyo, nasti dasyat param padam, nasti dasyat paro labho, nasti dasyat param sukham. There is nothing more attractive than Lord Hari's service. There is no situation better than Lord Hari's service. There is nothing better to be gained than Lord Hari's service. There is no happiness higher than Lord Hari's service. Seva kene bhagavata poreva porai, bhaktir prabhava nahi jahar jivai. Why does a person who does not describe the glories of devotional service recite or teach Srimad Bhagavatam? Gaudiya Bhashya. The recitation of those who have no knowledge about the beauty of devotional service, yet proudly recite Srimad Bhagavatam with a desire to become the master, is useless. Their recitation is useless. Shastrer na jani marma adhyapana kore, kardabhera pray jena shastra bahi more. E mata shastra bahe artha nahi jane, adhama sabhai artha adhama bakhane. Those who teach the scriptures without understanding their purport are simply carrying the burden of the scriptures like asses. In this way, they carry the burden of the scriptures without understanding their purpose. They present irrational meanings to irrational audiences. Gaudiya Bhashya. Another reading of sabhai or audiences is swabhav or nature. Proud teachers of Srimad Bhagavatam who display their pride by presenting non-devotional are asses who simply carry burdens without understanding the control statements. They uselessly labor to teach and study the scriptures. The purport explained by such professional non-devotee reciters of Srimad Bhagavatam to unqualified audiences is completely abominable. In the Padma Puran, Uttarakhanda chapter 63, it is stated, Viprar Bhagavati Varta Gehe Gehe Jane Jane Karita Dhanalobhena Kathasaras Tatogata. Brahmanas will describe the topics of Krishna's pastimes in Srimad Bhagavatam from house to house in order to accumulate wealth. Therefore, their audience will not achieve devotional service, which is the essence of hearing such topics. In the Manu Samhita 12.115, it is stated, Yang vadanti tamo bhuta murkha dharmam atar vidha tat papang shatadha bhutva tad vaktrin anugachati. 1 second, let's go on the next slide. Okay. Those who instruct religious principles in spite of being foolish, in the mode of ignorance, or ignorant of religion, incur 100 times more sin than their audience. The Manu Samhita 3.156 also states, Bhritak adhyapako yascha, Bhritak adhyapitas tatha, Shudra shishyo gurushchaiva, Vagdushta kundagolako. Those who charge fees for teaching. Wow, this is a very interesting verse. Those who charge fees, those who pay fees for studying, those who are disciples of Shudras, those who are spiritual masters of Shudras, those who speak harshly, and those who are illegitimate sons of mothers whose actual husband is still alive, and those who are illegitimate sons of mothers whose husband is dead, should not be allowed to participate in Shraddha ceremonies or other Vedic rituals. In the Avaishnavo Mukodgirnam Puttam Hari Katamritam Shravanam Naiva Kartavyam Sarpochistam Yathapaya. No one should hear or take lessons from a person who is not a Vaishnav. Even if he speaks about Krishna, such a lesson should not be accepted, for it is like milk touched by the lips of a serpent. It is stated in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, Shudranam supakaricha yo vidya vikrayi vipro vishahino yato raga. 1 second. Okay. One who is devoid of devotional service to Krishna, who cooks for Shudras, the holy names, or who lectures on the scriptures for pay, is like a poisonless snake. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 7.13.8, it is stated, Na shishyan anubandhanita granthan naiva vyaser bahun na vyakyam upayunjita narambhan arabhit kvachit. A sannyasi must not present allurements of material benefits to gather many disciples, nor should he unnecessarily read many books or give discourses as a means of livelihood. He must never attempt to increase material opulences unnecessarily. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 24:314, the following ancient statement of Lord Shiva is quoted. Aham vedmi shuko vetti vyaso vetti na vetti va bhaktya bhagavatam grahyam na buddhaya na chatikaya. One second. Oops. No, that's right. Okay. I may know. Shukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, may know. And Vyasadeva may know or may not know the Srimad Bhagavatam. On the whole, Srimad Bhagavatam, the spotless Puran, can be learned only through devotional service, not by material intelligence, speculative methods, or imaginary commentaries. So wait, I just want to see what the translation was, because this is a long commentary. Those who teach the scriptures without understanding their purport are simply carrying the burden of the scriptures like asses. In this way, they carry the burden of the scriptures without understanding their purpose. They present irrational meanings to irrational audiences. Okay, that's what we read. Vede bhagavate kohe dasya borodhana dasya lagi rama aja bhaver jatana. The Vedas and the Srimad Bhagavatam declare that service to the Lord is the greatest treasure. Lakshmi, Brahma, and Shiva are always engaged in such service. Chaitanya vakye jar nahi ko praman, Chaitanya nahi ko tar ki bolibo ana. Anyone who does not believe in the words of Lord Chaitanya cannot attain him. What more can I say? Gaudiya Bhashya. The words of Śrī Caitanya-dev are the crest jewel of all conclusions. Devotional service alone is the supreme goal of life. One who does not have this conviction is averse to Lord Chaitanya and fit to be called a fool. The Vedic literatures and Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the essence of the Vedas, fully establish the prominence of devotional service. Narayan's goddesses of fortune, as well as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, are all servants of the Supreme Lord. Srila Chakravarti Thakur has written, Aradhya Bhagavan Vrajeshataya Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachirupasana Vrajavadu Vargena Ya Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pumarta Mahan Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata matamidam tatra dhara na para. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the son of Nanda Maharaj, is to be worshipped along with his transcendental abode, Vrindavan. The most pleasing form of worship for the Lord is that which was performed by the gopis of Vrindavan. Srimad Bhagavatam is a spotless authority, and pure love of God is the ultimate goal of life. These statements, for which we have the highest regard, are the opinion of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Dasya bhave nache Prabhu Shri Gaura Sundar Chaudige Kirtana Dwani Ati Manohar. Lord Shri Gaur Sundar danced in the mood of a servant as the enchanting sound of kirtan vibrated in the four directions. Shunite shunite khone hoy murachita trinakore tokone advaita upanita. While listening to the kirtan, Advaita Acharya sometimes lost consciousness. He took straw in his hands and approached the Lord. Apada mastaka trine nichiya loya nija shire tui nache brukuti koriya. He covered his entire body with grass and he kept some on his head as he frowned while dancing. Okay? He covered his entire body with grass and kept some on his head as he frowned while dancing. I anyways, interesting. Gaudiya Bhashya. The word nichya means by covering. Advaitera bhakti deki sabar tarasa Nityananda Gadadhar dui jane hasa. Everyone was frightened on seeing Advaita Acharya's devotional service, but Nityananda and Gadadhar simply laughed. Nache Prabhu Gora Chandra Jagata Jivan Avasher Anta Nahi Hoy Ghane Ghan. In this way, Śrī Gaurasundar, the life of the entire universe, danced. He repeatedly expressed unlimited varieties of moods. Oh, internet connection's breaking up a bit, huh? Well, my download is insanely fast right now. Look at that. 250 megabyte Mbps. That's like 3 times as fast as my... Oh, but the upload isn't very fast. Interesting. Huh. Look at how fast the internet is, though. That's insane. 250 megabytes per second. In this way, Śrī Gaurasundar, the life of the entire universe, danced. He repeatedly expressed unlimited varieties of moods. Jaha nahi dekhi shuni Śrī-bhāgavate, heno sabikara prakashe shachi sute. The son of Shachi manifested many wonderful transformations of ecstatic love that are not found or heard of in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Gaudiya Bhashya. Transformations of ecstatic love that are not even recorded in Srimad Bhagavatam manifested in the transcendental body of Śrī Gaurasundar. Kone kone sarva anga hoy stamba kriti tilardheka noaite nahi ko shakati. Sometimes his entire body was stunned in such a way that no one could even slightly bend his body. She anga kone kone heno mata hoy asti matra nahi jeno navanita moy. Sometimes that same body became slackened in such a way that it became as soft as butter without any bones. Wow. Kokono deki je anga guna duitin kokono swabhava hoite Kokono Swabhava hoite atishay khin. Sometimes his body appeared to double or triple in size, and sometimes it appeared to shrink. So Mahaprabhu's Navadvip pastimes also, I thought it was just in the Puri pastimes, but no, in the Navadvip pastimes, he went through these extraordinary transformations of ecstasy, like where his body would do all these crazy things, no bones in his body, and it'd be as soft as butter, and things like that. Kokono ba mata jeno tuli tuli jai hasya dolai anga ananda sadai. Sometimes he was intoxicated in such a way that he tottered like a drunkard, and sometimes he swayed back and forth while laughing. Shakala Vaishnave Prabhu deki eke eke Bhava Veshe Purva Nama Dhori Dhori Dake. Seeing all Vaishnavas, the Lord called each of them by the name. He called each of them by the name they bore in their previous birth. Haladar Shiva Shuka Narada Pralad Rama Aja Uddhava Boli. Lord addressed them. Haladar Shukadev Narada God, Rama, Uddhav. That says my internet connection is unstable. E mata sabha deki nana mata bole, jeba jay vastu taha prakasha ye chale. In this way, the Lord revealed their actual identities by speaking about them in various ways. Gaudiya Bhashya. In his Gaur pastimes, Sri Gaurasundar called out the former names of his associates who participated in his previous pastimes. By doing so, he ascertains the identity of his associates. Aparupa Krishna Vesha Ananda Nayana Bhori Deshavabhritya. All of the Lord's servants happily watched as the Lord displayed his unparalleled Thank you for being so patient. Um, yeah, I ran out of mobile data on that phone. I just connected to a different phone. Um, okay, we're nearly finished. Are we sharing the screen again? I don't even know how long I was reading for. I was just reading and reading and reading, and then all of a sudden I was like, hey, wait, where is everybody? So think, anyways, I'm just gonna read from this verse. Aparupa Krishna Vesha Aparupa Nritya Anande Nayana Bhori Dekhe Sababhrita. All the Lord's servants happily watched as the Lord displayed his unparalleled ecstatic love for Krishna and unparalleled dancing. Purveje Sandhailo Badir Bhitare She Matra Dekhe Anye Praveshite Nare. Only those who had previously entered the house of Śrīvāsa were allowed to see those pastimes. Gaudiya Bhashya. There was such a crowd watching the Lord's dancing that no one other than those who had previously entered Śrīvāsa's courtyard were allowed in. Prabhur agyay drida lagi ache dwar, praveshite nare loka shaba nadiyar. The door was firmly locked by the order of the Lord. The ordinary people of Nadia were not able to enter. Gaudiya Bhashya. Another reading of Loka Shaba Nadiyar, all the people of Nadia, is Anya Loka Nadiyar, which means other persons of Nadia. Dhaya aise loka, sorry, Dhaya aise loka kirtana shuniya, praveshite nare lok, dware rahe giya. On hearing the loud kirtan, people came running, but being unable to enter, they stood at the door. Sahasra sahasra lok, kalarava kore, kirtana dekhibo chat, kuchaho duare. Thousands of people loudly clamored, "Open the door quickly! We want to see the kirtan." Jatika Vaishnava Sabha Kirtana Aveshe Na Jane Apana Deha Anya Jana Kise. All the Vaishnavas were so absorbed in the ecstasy of kirtan that they were not aware of their own bodies. So what did they know of others? Gaudiya Bhashya. Another reading of Kirtana Aveshe in the ecstasy of kirtan is Kirtaner Rase in the mellows of kirtan. Jateka Pashandi Shab Na Paiya Dwar Bahire Thakiya Manda Boloye Apar Keho Bole Egula Shakala Magi Khai Chini Le Paibe Laja Dwara Na Kuchai. The materialists, being unable to enter the house, spoke harsh words outside. Someone said, "These fellows beg to fill their bellies. They are ashamed of being recognized, so they do not open the door." Gaudiya Bhashya. Those who could not enter the courtyard of Śrīvāsa began to speak various harsh words. Those who have entered the house maintain their livelihood by begging. They close the door because they are ashamed of showing their miserable condition to others. If this were not the case, then why do those inside the house cry why do they cry out loudly, being afflicted by hunger? So I think this is where we're ending for today. Yeah. And tomorrow, yeah, and this goes on for a long time, like a very long time. Someone else said that this is the truth. Otherwise, why would they cry out for 24 hours? Another person said, "Oh, brothers, these people bring wine and drink at night, unseen by others." Another person said, "Previously, Nimai Pandit was a good person. Why has Lord Narayan changed his heart like this?" Someone said, "I think this is due to his previous activities." Someone else said, "This is due to bad association. He does not have a father to guide him, and he is afflicted by gastric disorders. Now Nimai has become afflicted by bad association." Someone said, "He has stopped all studies, and if one does not study for a month, he forgets all grammar." Someone else said, and it keeps on going on like this for a long time. So just wait. Tomorrow we will take care of Śrīvāsa and see what we'll do tomorrow to Advaita Acharya. We do not know where this Nityananda Avadut came from. He stays at the house of Śrīvāsa and enacts all these dramas. Although the materialists threatened the devotees in this way, the Vaishnavas were in ecstasy and did not hear anything. So this keeps on going on and on and on and on. And then, where does it end? Okay, then it says, after speaking like this, all these envious people went home. As one left, another came and knocked at the door. As soon as two atheists met together, they embraced and fell to the ground laughing loudly. They would also go and bring others who had not seen what was going on. Yet some persons, on the advice of others, would refuse to go. Someone said, "Oh, brother, I have seen and heard everything. Along with Nimai, they have all become mad. It sounds like the tumultuous croaking of frogs or the wild celebration of a Durga Puja festival in the house of Śrīvāsa. The only thing we can hear is, hi, hi, hey, hey, ho, ho. These people bring infamy on us. Nadia has thousands of great exalted Bhattacharyas, yet such impostors also live here." Okay, so, wow. In this way, the atheists made a great commotion, yet nevertheless, they were all most fortunate. Wow. Why? Because they took birth in the same village as the Lord, and they saw and heard about his pastimes. The followers of Lord Chaitanya were intoxicated in the mellows of Krishna consciousness. Therefore, the statements of the materialists did not enter their ears. Day and night, they happily chanted, "Jai, Krishna, Murari, Mukunda, Vanamali." Vishwambar danced day and night with the devotees. No one became tired, for they all had spiritual bodies. A number of yugas passed as 1 year, with no one understanding due to the ecstasy of being with Lord Chaitanya. While a number of yugas passed during the Ras Lila pastime, the gopis thought that only a moment had passed. In this way, Krishna manifests inconceivable pastimes that are known only to the fortunate servants of Lord Chaitanya. In this way, Mahaprabhu Vishwambar danced until only 3 hours of the night remained. Śrī Caitanya-chandra then took all the Shalagram Shilas on his lap and sat on the Singhasan. As the Singhasan made a cracking sound due to the weight of Vishwambar, Nityananda quickly touched it. Lord Ananta manifested within the throne so it did not break, as Lord Gauranga comfortably sat on it. On the order of Lord Chaitanya, the kirtan was stopped. Then the Lord loudly revealed his glories. In Kali Yuga, I am Krishna and I am Narayan. I am the Supreme Lord and the son of Devaki. I am the Lord of innumerable universes. I am the object of all glorification, and all of you are my servants. I have incarnated for your sake. Whatever you offer to me, that is my food. Actually, you have offered everything to me. Then Śrīvāsa replied, O Lord, everything belongs to you. The Lord said, I will eat it all. And then Advaita said, O Lord, that would be most auspicious. All the servants of the Lord then offered him various items with their own hands, and the Lord, in his own ecstasy, happily ate. As he ate yogurt, milk, and butter, he repeatedly asked, bring whatever else you have. He ate various types of milk sweets mixed with sugar, as well as sugar candy and green coconut water with its pulp. He ate bananas, flat rice, and puffed rice, and then repeatedly said, bring more. By ordinary calculation, the Lord ate in one moment enough food to feed 200 people. He then said, what else do you have? The Lord said, bring more, bring more. There's nothing left here. The devotees then became frightened and remembered the Supreme Lord. All the devotees folded their hands and fearfully said, what do we know of your glories? With these insignificant offerings, how can we satisfy he in whose stomach innumerable universes rest? The Lord said, the offerings of a devotee are not insignificant. Therefore, quickly bring whatever you have. O Lord, we have camphor and betel nuts. The Lord replied, don't worry, give them to me. All the devotees became ecstatic and their fears were dispelled as those who were qualified offered the Lord betel nuts. All the servants joyfully offered betel nuts, and the Lord smiled as he accepted them with his own hands. The Lord rolled his eyes and roared loudly as he repeatedly called out, nada, nada, nada. The devotees did not say anything, but sat down in silence as their hearts were struck with wonder. All the devotees saw him as a supreme chastiser. They had no strength to stand before him. Nityananda held an umbrella over Mahaprabhu's head, and Advaita offered prayers with folded hands before the Lord. In great fear, the devotees all folded their hands and remembered the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya as they bent their heads down. Anyone who is pleased to hear about this display of opulence by the Lord will certainly see the beautiful face of Lord Chaitanya. One will understand these pastimes according to his qualification. No one can understand more without the sanction of the Lord. Okay, so anyways, this is what we're going to be reading. Not tomorrow, because tomorrow we'll be reading about Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. It will be his disappearance day tomorrow. And so we will complete this chapter the day after tomorrow. All right, so I'll end with Mahamantra and then, yeah, Jaidvani. Oh, but one thing, last night at like 2 o'clock in the morning, I made a video about this program that we're starting tomorrow at 9 p.m. every night. I give all the details of the program. I made one video before, but that video isn't so good. I made a better one, like where I explain exactly what we're going to do in our programs every day throughout the year of 2024. It's a program where you can do any kind of practice you want to cultivate throughout 2024. And it will be like a support group. And so if anybody would like to check that out, you can find it on my Facebook page or on my Vine of Devotion channel, the video I made. Right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. जय श्री श्री गुरु गौरांग गंधार गिरिधारी श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जय श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जू की जय नित्यालल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अच्युत रचित शिशुमार भक्तिवेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जय नित्यालल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अच्युत रचित शिशुमार भक्तिवेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय नित्यालल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शिशुमार भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जय नित्यालल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शिशुमार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय नित्यालल प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद शिशुमार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय नित्यल प्रविष्ट महाभागवत श्री गौरक्षरस बाबूजी महाराज की जय श्री रूपानुगौरिय गुरु वर्ग की जय श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शरण गोसाई प्रभु की जय श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय नाम चय श्री हरिदास नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवाश्री गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदत्त गिरिराज महाराज की जय श्री राधा कुंज श्याम कुंज यमुना गंगा तुलसी भक्ति देवी की जय श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय जय श्री चैतन्य भागवत की जय श्री वृंदावन दास ठाकुर की जय द गौरी भाष्य श्री भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय the nightly kirtan pastimes in the house of Śrīvāsa Pandit ki jai जय श्री सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि की जय स्वापार्षद गौर हरि की जय श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशव वशचा कृष्ण भक्ति प्रद देवी सत्यवताय नमो वंशा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Dandavat pranams Nari Hari and Bhavatarini Mataji and Champak Mataji and who else? Raseshwari Mataji, Vidyalala Sadidi, Ganga Mataji, Jumna Prabhu, Sudevi Didi, and Vanksiwala Prabhu, and everybody else. Dandavat pranams. See you all tomorrow to celebrate the auspicious disappearance festival of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. And if you're able, in the evening time, we can embark on this daily program to perform a particular sadhana every day. It'll be an accountability program. We'll go on for, I'll set a timer for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and 40 minutes. So you can, if you want to leave after 20 minutes, you can. If you want to leave after 30 minutes, you can, or you could stay for the entire 40 minutes. More details about the program on my page, as I mentioned. Right, Dandavat Pranams. Hare Krishna. Oh, is there, before I end this video, is there anybody, Nri Hari Prabhu or Bhavatarani Mataji or Champakti, anybody want to have anything to say? Or if not, then I'll just end now. All right, so see you all tomorrow. Jai Shri Radhe.